Hey, it's Cassandra here. Welcome to the Buy Tennessee Dirt training videos. If you've been with us for a while, welcome back. And if you're new to the team, welcome. So today we're going to be going over the temporary occupancy agreement for seller after closing amendment/addendum. So this is one of those documents that can be used as an amendment to go along with the purchase sale agreement, or it can be used, an addendum with the purchase and sale agreement, or as an amendment after the purchase and sale agreement has been binded. So in this case, we used it, I believe, afterwards. So we just need to make sure that the date is in there correct, as far as for the binding agreement date. If it was going to be an addendum, meaning it's going to be with the offer, you would select offer date of, and then you would put that in there. As long as your information in your DocuSign is filled out correctly, all of that information will automatically fill in here. Now, because the fact that we use this one as an amendment to the contract, we originally put in the purchase and sale agreement in the special stipulations that the buyers were going to give the sellers, in this case, 2 weeks to vacate the home after closing. We knew that our closing was going to be quick, fast, in a hurry because it was a cash offer. But we knew that there were things going on in the seller's life of, getting their kids stuff figured out and sports and all that stuff. So we knew that we needed to give them, and we were willing, and the buyer was willing to give them a couple weeks to vacate the home. So this is always nice, especially when you have people that have kids, or if they're elderly or whatever the case may be, just time to be able to move everything out of the home. So you would just put in the date that you agreed upon, and then the timestamp. Typically, we give till the end of the day, meaning at midnight they are officially out of the house, have to be out of the house. Of course, and then this agreement is not intended to be used for occupancy more than 60 days. So just keep that in mind. And then this section here is going to be compensation and default. So if we are asking, if the buyer is asking, well, this closed on the 7th and I'm giving you to the 9th to get out, I'm going to charge you for those 2 days. It's acceptable, but it's something that needs to be discussed beforehand so that the sellers aren't, obviously if it's going further than, those 2 weeks or 30 days, or we're pushing that 60-day mark or whatever, this is where that's going to come into play as to charging the person to live at the house there. And then, of course, repairs and maintenance. This is saying that the sellers agree to immediately contact buyers if any of malfunctions or damage occurs. Home protection, if it's already been discussed about home protection plan, whether it's in there or not. These ones here, you would be like, hey, well, we'd like to add in that home protection plan, or if it's waived. In this case, it was not applicable. And then we've got possession, transfer, inspection, meaning that the seller is agreeing to transfer the property in the same condition or better to the buyer as it was at closing or when they did the final walkthrough. Utilities, the seller agrees to be responsible of the utilities during that extra time frame of, those 2 weeks that they were in there, that they would take care of that and make sure that they can take care of the utilities. And then Section 7, insurance, sellers responsible for obtaining adequate insurance to cover their personal property from the close date until the possession, when the buyers take possession. And then Section 8, all parties agree that the occupancy agreement is not intended to, nor does it create a relationship of a landlord-tenant. So it is strictly just buyer and seller. That's it. There's no other, any other business or legal relationship in that. The survival clause is that this occupancy agreement shall survive the closing. So meaning after everything's said and done and everyone signed the contract and money's been transferred, that this agreement, this temporary occupancy agreement, still exists and still is very much an active binding contract between the buyer and the seller. Section 10, keys to the property. The seller is basically saying that they'll provide access to the buyers with the keys at the time of closing. And then access to the property, the buyer agrees not to access the property until the date of possession. So in this case, the date of possession is that July 9th. So they are, saying that basically, or actually it would be July 10th, that they won't gain access and won't go into the home until afterwards, unless there's, of course, in a case of emergency. Section 12 is disclaimer and hold harmless. Seller agrees to hold harmless or defend buyer from anything against a claim or cause of action related to arising of injury to the person or personal property resulting in the seller or seller's use occupancy of the property, meaning the seller is not going to blame the buyers for the sellers if they get injured on the property, because that's, well, I mean, you'd be probably surprised of how many things probably go awry, but this just says, nope, the sellers can't blame the buyers for it. And of course, if there's any additional terms, you can go ahead and put that in there. And as always, when you put this into the envelope for everyone to sign, make sure everyone has signed it. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call.